Okay, 12.23. Good luck. That's a little bit of a rating gap. It's a very big bit of a rating gap, actually, isn't it? Let's go forward. How many years was that? 6 years. So it should be a genuine rating. So let's go C6. Actually, I'm going to go G6 here, just so the bishop's got some potential score. Yeah, as soon as you get one suspicious player, it throws you completely. I should just learn to stop and not keep playing on, but we're just trying to pass some time. Well, that's not a good move. What's his intentions there? Letting us take. I'm going to take. I'm trusting my opponent's rating is all legit here, given how long he's had the account. I think we take there. We could take here as well. I don't really want to allow this, but I can't really stop it. So I'm going to take there and then here, I think. Just try and break the structure up. Now what do we do? Queen up could be a move. I want to get the knight into play. Knight up does actually hit the pawn and cover this push. So that makes sense to me, to attack a pawn and stop the other pushing down. You've got to decide where that king's going to go. Okay, the queen comes up, so we've got queen up and we can attack the pawn and stop the push here. Knight up, I don't really see a great follow-up, but you can push down now, so we might want to spend a move on e5. I quite like that, actually. Spend a move on e5, but I'm allowing my opponent to get developed now to castle. Maybe that was a mistake. Maybe that was a mistake, but I think I've got queen up right. We can still hit the pawn. So 2 attack the pawn and 1 defend it. So do you try and spend a move guarding the pawn? Okay, he's guarded it with a pawn. That's difficult to defend. I'm just going to challenge that immediately. If you push up, I simply take the pawn and the rook would be pinned. So he's pushed forward. Okay, I think I can take here now and hit the bishop. Take, so I'm going to get rid of that bishop. Now obviously I need to try and deal with this pawn. Let's activate the rook though. Just got to be really careful not to let this pawn get too far down the board. So you're probably going to have to go king side at some point. If we can just remove this pawn, we're doing pretty well. But it's always an if. So rook across, what do you do? Knight down's no good. Knight here. Maybe I play queen up, then you can't actually move your knight. That seems sensible. Queen up to stop the knight moving anyway, otherwise we take the queen and we hit the pawn as well. Yeah, castles. I think we just take here. There's no tricks, is there? I think we just take. Now try and activate the rook. Okay, let's just activate the rook. At some point we're now threatening to actually take, maybe even this next move. But undermine the defense. Knight he sees that, does well. So pawn up, rook across might allow bishop down. You can take a pawn, but we then take the bishop. Queen takes, knight. It all looks okay to me. Knight takes, queen takes, knight takes. I don't like the look of. So I'm going to push the pawn. You can't move your knight, you lose your queen. So now I'm going to drop the bishop back and hit the rook. It's a tricky position for white, this tricky position, but obviously in any game I can always miss some key move. So the rook does take, so now we're going to remove the bishop. So just double checking I'm not blundering the back rank, and then we take the knight. So it's going to be a knight and bishop against the rook, but you do have the outside pawn, so it is dangerous still. This is dangerous because you've got 2 rooks and the outside pawn, so I could actually be losing here. I hope I'm not, but I could be. I'm going to have to shift this rook. That's what you should be doing. He attacks my knight, so I'll take the pawn. Do I? Yeah, I might as well. Rook across. Okay, fair enough. I have to get that pawn. That's the key. He pushes correctly, but I think I can get behind now. I don't think I can go after a checkmate. So I think I need to get behind the pawn and try and attack the pawn with a second piece. If I get that pawn, then I'm doing pretty well. So here, takes. If I take, I stop you coming down, right? So here I think is a move, but I've got here as well to actually hit the rook and the pawn. That's probably more direct. Let's hit the rook and the pawn, but I need to take with the rook. He's actually played tremendously well here. But I think a trade there. Once one of the rooks comes off and that pawn's gone, I should be doing pretty well. I just have to avoid sloppy blunders. So let's bring this knight back and try and get the knight somewhere around here if we can. King up, activate the bishop. Yeah, he's played again tremendously well though, playing really, really good rating level here, significantly above the rating. Okay, I'm going to go forward to try and fix this square and give my knight a square. Let's just bring the knight back and then try and activate the bishop. Just hit the rook. Going to be very difficult to win though, isn't it? Very difficult. Okay, let's get the bishop active. I can't afford to burn any more time. The knight could be tricky if the king lands on the wrong square though. So do we go forward here? Actually, I think I come back and threaten knight across to take the pawn. If I get the pawn and rook for the knight and bishop, I'm 3 pawns against 1. That should be cleanly winning. So if I just keep the bishop back, eventually knight over and take. See, rook across, blunders check. Oh, he's unlucky. Right idea, wrong execution. That is really unlucky. That's a tremendous effort by my opponent in it. Let's see how the engine says we actually played it. That was a tremendous effort. So 40 moves. They're the move times for both players. Right, so we've got 93% versus 88% accuracy, CPL 2848. No bad blunders at all from either player. So me and my opponents played a tremendous game there. You could tell they were playing significantly better than their rating level, but it wasn't desperately suspicious, if I put it that way. It was just somebody playing a really tremendous game. And that's what you want. That's what you want. As long as your opponent's playing fairly, that's all you ask for. They've certainly played significantly better than a 1200 level player, but not in a way where I thought I've got no chance of winning the game like you get with some of the players. But it was still very, very close, just flicking through. I think in this position, once I've got rook behind, I wondered if you might be able to get the rook behind the pawn and come from both ways, but there might be a way to try and get the rook in, but I doubt it. I think I could have been in real trouble there. So what was the position? We're actually much better. You can see on the eval, we've actually played it pretty well. So we are much better most of the game. Well, let's see what the engine says. So in this position, what happened? It was pawn to a4. The engine's preferring rook to e1 to attack the knight and then attack the pawn. And then we just supposed to play f5 and plant the knight. That might walk into f3 at some point, but very dangerous game. So really well done by my opponent there. Well done.